this is Neil from RGB Guru, and today we're going to be looking at a little video that we've created, a little template that you guys can use using 3D Element. Obviously it requires After Effects and 3D Element, but that's it for this tutorial. So you can download that and have a play with it. I'll add a few links to show you where you can purchase 3D Element from, but let's get cracking. Okay, this is the video. Okay, what we've got there is a little spinning atom that pops up and flexes, and then you've got this text that pops up as well, and then the star field that sort of like pops out and then sort of shrinks back in and then explodes. Okay, so I'll just show you where this was inspired from. So during our Pixel Lab, he put this expression up that gives you the ability to set two keyframes, and then the animation will bounce or spring after those points, easing the object in. What Joran does here, he does it actually on text, but what I thought, wouldn't it be cool if we could actually use those expressions in an animation regarding sort of like making things bounce a little bit. So what we've done is actually I've dropped it into Element 3D so we can have a little look at how that plays. Here are a few other areas where you can have a look, so that's well worth looking at. Put the link up to this on the blog as well. I've always, for many years, also Grave Machines presets, so that's well worth downloading. But let's have a look at what we've got on this site. So let's have a look at the file that we've got here. And what I'm going to do is just run from the top to the bottom, from the bottom to the top, and let's have a look at what we've got here. This is the background, simple ramp. The ramp's positioned to center, and you can obviously edit these to whatever colours you want. Let's just change these colours now. I'm going to go for a little bit of a grey there. Okay, so but you guys can do obviously what you want. Stepping up from that, we've got a redundant layer. Let's move back up above that. Now we've got the text layer. As you can see the motion path there. Let's unfurl this, and you can see where I've added the expression. So if we Alt-click on the top watch, you can see where the expression will be added. So let's add that. Obviously within yours it'll be already added, so let's add that there. You can tinker with that how much you like, and these are the three settings that make the difference. As you edit these, it will edit the spring and the bounce that's actually generated by the movement. So all we've got here is the expression dropped in, so Alt-click on the stopwatch gives you the option to edit the expression there, and once it's in you can just double click on it and it'll let you get in there. I'm just going to delete that keyframe because I don't think we need that. I've got two keyframes, one that's positioning it off camera there, and then literally the second one brings it up in the y-axis onto screen, and then after that the expression bounces it away. Okay. You'll probably notice that with the final version that I've created, it actually comes onto the music and hits the right amount. I think I've tinkered with these a little bit, but that's for you guys to play with as well. So that's literally that's it for the text. Created a 3D layer, added the expression to it, and moved the position up. It's as simple as that with that one. Now we're getting a little bit more complex. We're actually going to the Element 3D layer. Now, if you haven't used Element 3D before, it's a brilliant plugin and well worth sort of purchasing. And I'll just show you the power of that in a second. But literally, it's like any other effects. You drag it onto a layer and off it goes. In this case, you create a solid layer and then drag the Element 3D on top of it. Then you have got a raft of selections. Let's go into the setup to start with. So let's go to the scene setup, and I'll show you what I've done here. Separated into three groups. As you can see, we've got a sphere, which is the first group, and that's, well, it's not the first group, it's actually the second group. We've then got a triangle, which is for the particle sort of field, the star field that we created. Just a low polygon model. You can probably use a small sphere and something like that. And then the final group, which is the atom. And what I've added to these is like a flat colour. It's part of the presets here. Just drop that on, turn it to white. So we've got now sort of shadows and bits and pieces. I wanted to keep it quite flat. So I've separated into these into 3 groups. So we've got group 1 at the top, group 2, group 2, group 3 and group 1. Put them in separate layers so I can obviously animate them separately as well. But it's as simple as that. Okay, so we're happy with that, so click OK. Now I'll just take you through what each group does, and I'll actually do it in the timeline itself. So if we look at, as you can see, this is group 1. What we've actually got some animation, some rotation on this, and we've got the size that pops up. So we're starting at 0, well, we're starting at 1, and it goes up to 12 and a bit. And we've used the expression in that as well. So let's have a look at the expression in here as well. So double click on that, same expression. I think once again I've altered these 3 top sort of presets. These 3 elements here. So we've edited those a little bit just to give the right sort of bounce. But you can obviously edit these a little bit to the element that you want it. But literally, you've got 2 keyframes in the particle size. So we've got that single particle, which is that model there, going from 0, well, going from 1 up to 12, and then it continues to bounce because we've got that expression. So it gives it that sort of nice feel that it's actually entered the scene at some speed and then slows down, springs back into position. And another expression I've used, once again, very simple expression. We've got 2 points, 2 keyframes. We've got separate rotation on it. I've only used these X and the Z rotation just to give us that spin of the atom. But we've got 2 keyframes that loop. So if we have a look at that expression, it's the simplest one out. Loop, underscore, out, and then we've got continue, and that just continues the loop. So if we were, for example, to edit these keyframes, so what we've got is a 1 complete animation. So if you put 1 in the settings there, you'll get 1 complete animation, and then you can obviously change the time and speed by altering where that 1 ends. Okay, so if we just have a quick spin through, you'll notice that obviously because I've reduced the time in which that spins, it will go quicker. Let's go for a quick preview. To spin that, can you actually see that it's spinning far quicker than on the original animation? And what the loop expression does, obviously just loops it, so it keeps on going. So you've only got 2 keyframes, but it continues to loop. I think that'll do. There you go, it's a bit mental. So what we can do is obviously just extend those a little bit further. So those are 2 real exciting expressions you can use, and it's as simple as dropping them in like that, and it saves you so much time. So if we look in the next group, which is the star field, I think it was it the star field? No, it's not, it's the sphere. Sorry about that, guys. Same expression on here, so if you double click into that, we've used the particle look, the size of it, same expression in there, and because obviously it continues to work depending on how many keyframes you put in, we've put 1 that brings it out. As you can see, it's starting to, actually no, that's where it starts. We've staggered it a little bit. This is where it pops out, so you get into the full size. It's going a little bit smaller, and obviously every time we do this, it's sort of like you get that springy effect, so it feels like it's pulsing, but we've only got a few keyframes. And then finally you've got that final size where it goes from sort of 20 all the way up to fill the screen at 400. It's a little bit off there. There we go. So it fills the screen. Okay. One of the issues is obviously because it does pop, it then springs back. But we can cover that in the final edit. So that's the one. And then finally we've got the star field. And if we have a quick look at the way I've done this, once again I've gone and used the particle look. And what I've done here, I'll bring in show you in the actual 3rd group here. We've actually added a replicator. So we've got quite a few in the particle count. We've got a sphere, which gives you that particle feel. We've also then scattered them a little bit in their X, Y, and Z, so it's not a perfectly uniformed sphere. So if you edit that, you can see that the sphere is changing a little bit there. If we set that back to 0, it would be a perfect sphere, which may be the look that you want. We've edited the particle size on this one. That's not the right one, so let's bring that correct one up. So if we, there we are, there's group 3. Let's hide that. Let's go down to group 3. So we've got the particle count, which goes from 0 up to 684. We've then got literally these two. We haven't used any expressions on these ones. We've literally just animated it via keyframe. But what I did with this one is that you obviously got the two keyframes that actually just increase the size. We've also got one that actually will increase the size of the shape. So the particle count goes from 0 all the way up to 600, and then we've got the size of the field, of the sphere, of the shape, which are all the same thing, and that goes from 0 all the way up to 40 here, which is actually creating the sphere. But what I've done is edit and played with the F-curve a little bit. So if you go into F-curve, which is this here, if you go on the graphic editor, if you click into there, you'll see that I've actually edited it a little bit. So we've got some points and some slowing down. Instead of just linear sort of easing in and easing out, I've actually come in here and actually used the F-curve here, the Bezier curves, and edited the dramaticness of that. So it actually speeds up and then flows out slowly, and then we've got a nice gentle curve at the end where it just fades back in. Okay, so you'll notice that it slows to that point and then it fires off again, and then basically this is linking in with when we see the text coming in. So it's nice to have your keyframes lined up so that at certain points things happen all at once, and this also was keyed up with the music as well. The music is not included in this, but I will actually link to it. It's bought from via Audio Jungle, just give it that little bit of extra feeling. And that's about it really. If you've got any more questions, please do give us a shout. Actually, I'll just briefly go through the RGB split here. I've also added a little RGB split in here, so that you've got this sort of like split chromatic elaboration sort of look. And all I've done with those is literally we've got a channel shift where each of these layers have been duplicated and each one has been added to its relevant layer, and then the other information within that layer has been turned off. You guys can have a quick flick through that, but as you can see on the green layer we've got green, on the blue layer we've got blue, and then we've put a bit of optical compensation on there as well, and make sure we've reversed that a little bit. And as you can see, if we edit that, it will edit the complete look of it a little bit there. There we go. So the more you add, the more it splits out. So that's quite a nice look. So there's your final animation. Please follow us on Twitter, Facebook and all that malarkey, or sign up to our newsletter, and we'll send you through bits and pieces that you might find interesting. We'll also be adding more tutorials. So yeah, thanks very much for listening and watching.